so you actually drop into the games with people of your own skill set. But you can also, we also implemented a party system, so you can actually go with your friends from game to game, stay together, join a squad, you can be in clans, all that kind of stuff is still there, but actually there's a party system now that takes you from game to game. We're also introducing new game modes, things like guerrilla warfare, which is basically team deathmatch 24/7. It's another one of our requests from our community that people just want team deathmatch all the time, and that's what guerrilla warfare is all about. And we're very excited about a new mode called Operations, and Operations mode is kind of a story-based, objective-based mission structure where there's cutscenes in between all different objectives, and the cutscenes actually feature you as the player. So all of your names, all your gamer tags and everything, it'll all be present right there, and you actually you're the star in your own very multiplayer game. So that's very exciting stuff. Lean and Peak will not be available in the multiplayer. We have extensively tested that, but simply because of the speed that the game needs to play at, it proved not to be very valuable to have Lean and Peak in there because it slowed things down way too much. Comparisons to other games, I'm very honored to be compared to the likes of Halo, Call of Duty, and all those other games that are out there. For us, we're a very young studio. This is our second really big title that we do on the PlayStation 3. And to be compared to the likes of Halo, who've been around for ages and have done an excellent job, that's a massive honor for us. I think we're a very different game though. And in the stuff that we're trying to do, we always look back at what we did previously and how we think we need to improve. We listen to the fan feedback that's out there, and we look at kind of our previous games, what we did really well, keep that, make that stronger. But we also look at kind of the bottom 5 that came out of all of the reviews and the stuff that people really complained about, and said, how can we turn it into kind of the best features for the next game? If you look at Killzone 1, I think the AI was one of the points where a lot of people commented on saying it's not very good. It's actually one of the bigger shining points of Killzone 2. And again, from Killzone 2, taking that to Killzone 3, we're looking at things like variety, removing controller lag, making the story a heck of a lot better, all those kind of things that people comment on negatively for Killzone 2, we're turning those into actual kind of features for Killzone 3. Sure.
Are you going to do a multiplayer beta for PlayStation Plus subscribers, maybe? And also, are you going to do some co-op modes or like a co-op campaign?
Of course, there's going to be a public beta for Killzone. It's very important to get our fan feedback and to get things tested. So there will be a public beta, but more details on that are to follow pretty soon, actually. In terms of co-op modes, we cannot talk about that. We only have the multiplayer that we've got on show so far, and the single player. Who knows? I really need to find out exactly kind of if the pacing is right and how long the campaign takes. And we find there's a lot of kind of different results so far. Some people are a lot faster than others. We're trying to iron it out. We're aiming for a campaign that's longer than the one we had in Killzone 2. But right now we have to kind of tweak the values and see what kind of things we need to do to actually get there.
You mentioned before Halo. I think one of the things that made Halo so addictive was the element of controllable vehicles, which is perhaps less absent from the previous 2 Killzones. How much of Killzone 3 will lend itself to controllable vehicles?
In Killzone 3 there will be a lot of different vehicles. Things like the jetpack you've seen, if that counts as a vehicle. Obviously we'll be flying on intruders a lot of time. The same as with Killzone 2, except this time around you actually get to fire your gun while you're on the intruder, so that makes for a lot more excitement. And there will be other vehicles in the game as well. I can't talk about that and those just yet, but we're going to reveal those pretty soon.
Does Killzone 3 plan to incorporate a type of horde or firefight mode in the game?
A horde or firefight mode. I find them very, very cool and very interesting. It's not something that we've considered for Killzone just yet. We're very happy with kind of the multiplayer offering that we have. There's a lot of variety in there. You can play with bots. You can play all the different modes, from guerrilla warfare to our warzone mode with a dynamic mission switching. All those kind of things are still in there. The operations modes, which I just explained, is a very new, brand new mode. But we haven't considered something like horde or firefight mode.
Okay.
In terms of the move functionality,
Sure.
did you find it difficult to incorporate the move, particularly in terms of the sort of heavy Killzone feel of the previous two?
Very good question. The move, obviously, in terms of how it moves along the screen, makes everything feel a lot lighter, and we're still working to find out if we need to make some adjustments to the animations to make sure that the kind of the weighty feel of the weapon is still there. With weighty feel, I want to make sure that everybody understands that that isn't down to controller lag. Controller lag is removed from Killzone 3. So anytime you hit the button, the action on the screen is instantaneous, whereas with Killzone 2 there was lag between you pressing the button and actually stuff happening on screen. So that's gone from Killzone 3, but we still want to have that same feeling of weight, where if you're walking through the world, you actually feel that you're carrying a weapon. And with the move, it's a little bit tricky to get that done because you actually want to be able to move the thing around. So that's something that right now we're playtesting and see if we can get that balance right. It won't feel the same as with the DualShock because it just needs to be lighter, but that's something that we have to carefully balance out. Yep.
Obviously all the video game companies are really interested in motion control at the present time. I'd imagine that Killzone 3 was in development before Move came along. What kind of challenges did that present to you guys? Because obviously Sony is going to be very keen to get Move in a AAA flagship title such as this. Was it an unexpected turn on the books for you guys, or do you think that that actually improves the experience?
For us, it's opening up the game to a whole new audience, which was interesting for us. So as soon as kind of the opportunity comes around, we jumped on it and said, well, is this something that we can incorporate in Killzone? Because we feel that a lot of people are attracted to the way the game looks. They don't necessarily pick up the controller and start playing with it because it's a little bit daunting to get to use to get the controller, to get to grips with the DualShock. At the same time, there's a whole PC gamer audience out there who've always been complaining that the mouse and keyboard are a lot better than actual DualShock, and the Move is kind of the bridge between the two. So that's for us was a very kind of interesting approach to see if we can position the Move in such a way that it caters to a new audience for us. And in terms of the challenges that it brings, there's a couple of things that you have to take into account. I mean, the gestures, the way the camera moves, we've experimented with a lot of different things where at one point the camera was locked and as soon as you moved the thing, the camera started moving. A lot of people have been commenting on that on the forums actually. Why don't we do that? We've tried it, and if you want to lose your breakfast, it's a very good way to do that. It doesn't work. For us, it just ruined the experience. So in playtesting, we found that everybody immediately got it as soon as you kind of get in the controller, you point your gun at the screen, and that's where actually the bullets go. So it's those kind of things that we have to do a lot of playtesting on. As I mentioned, that the book hasn't been written yet. Everybody gets DualShock, press X to jump. X isn't jump, then the game's broken or something, there's just something wrong with it. On the Move, we still have to invent a lot of those rules. So I'm pretty sure that in maybe a year's time, certain rules will have established themselves and the move controls will feel very, very natural.
Hello, Alex Iceland, CK Collective. I'd just like to ask, are you going to definitely have the 3D components for the multiplayer?
Oh, we definitely have 3D, yes. For multiplayer, it's across the game. 3D as well as Move, it's across the game.
Is there any possibility that you would consider working with Microsoft to bring in a Killzone title to Xbox 360?
Sorry, what is this?
Is there any sort of possibility that you would consider working with Microsoft in the future to bring Killzone to Xbox 360?
We are wholly owned by Sony. I don't think that's going to happen.
tell me if the online multiplayer will allow move and the DualShock in the same servers, or will have their own separate servers?
That's a very good question. We're still play testing that to see whether one or the two one or the other have an advantage. It's actually something on the server side that we can allow for kind of much matchmaking to filter out. So if we find out that it's going to be too difficult to have both of them in the same game, we can actually on the server side we can say, okay, move players only play with move players and dual shockers play with all the dual shockers. So that's something that through our public beta we hope to get some more data on and actually figure out whether we need to, how we need to do those things. Last question? Right there. Yep.
In previous interviews you said that you would expand on the rank from 50 to 45.
Correct.
Would you also expand on class identity, this guy, would you reward players for using it effectively in your
the question is about the rewards in multiplayer and kind of the ranking system. We've expanded the ranks from 15 to 45. 45 different ranks to shoot for in the multiplayer. We've also expanded the amount of abilities. There's now 6 abilities per rank that per class that you can actually use. We have 5 different classes, so the number of abilities that you can use go up. You actually get points for doing the stuff that you like. So if you use those abilities, if you like to heal people, you actually get points for that, and that contributes towards your ranks. There's a lot more rewards to gain throughout the game. So anything from you shooting down the exoskeleton, one of the vehicles that's in the game, to using the jetpack, all of different things, you get a lot of rewards. You constantly get reinforced, and basically it's for the stuff that you like doing best. So that's really cool. I think that's it.
Yep. Thank you very much.